Alright, hello, ladies, gentlemen, I've got a new switch. Okay, so this company Hyconext has, can you see that better? Hyconext has sent me this 2.5 gigabit layer 2 PoE switch, okay? This is a NEG48 2.5 gig 802.3 BT switch. The switch is fully capable of delivering up to 500 watts. The cool thing is that you've got 16 PoE ports, all 2.5 gig, and you've got 6 10 gig ports. It's almost like somebody listened to what we're asking for. I mean, it'd be nice if it had 10 gig ports on, but a lot of radio gear doesn't handle that right now. So the cool thing is, though, is that there's actually 4 groups of 4 here. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4. You can set any one of these 4 groups to one of 2 voltages. You can make it 26 or 52. So otherwise, 24 or 48 volts, ultimately, right? It does active and passive PoE. It does 802.3 AF, AT, and BT. 100 watts per port, mother. And not only that, but it does 2 or 4 pair power. Again, active or passive. We've got sensor inputs here for humidity and temperature and also dry contact. There's also a relay on here, so you can use it to turn on fans or use a solenoid for a door. There's all sorts of functionality that this thing has built into the switch. So it does everything except for layer 3. So you just can't route on this. But I am going to look a little bit deeper and see if that just might be lost in translation. So it is a neg 48 volt switch. Okay, so this thing is neg 48 volts, and they do suggest that if you're using it in a mixed mode plant, to be careful because you could pop equipment. But I mean, like, if you're a proper telecom, you're probably all neg 48 in your plant anyway. Problem is that with small telecom, a lot of the smaller vendors like Ubiquiti or Cambium. Cambium's a bit bigger than Ubiquiti, but you get the idea. Some of the smaller vendors that make cost-effective equipment typically make their gear 24 volt or 48 volt plus 48. So where does the difference come in? Is that the telecom standard is neg 48, but there's a lot of equipment that is not neg 48. What does this mean? Neg 48 means that the chassis of this is connected to positive, okay? Whereas positive 48 would be that the negative is connected to chassis. So 99% of regular consumer products or most electronics you find will be plus voltage, right? Meaning that the negative is either referenced to earth or the chassis, or there is no reference, period, okay? So now, first of all, let's turn this thing on. The cool thing is this thing will actually run from 36 to 72 volts according to the spec sheet. I'm going to power it up. All right, so you should be able to see the LEDs on here now. Maybe not. Hold on. Let me just adjust these lights a little bit. Yeah, that might help. Okay, so you can see this thing's firing up. We've got the run light, or power and run. Run is flashing right now. Pretty handy, eh? So looking at the front of this thing, sorry about the noise, but it is just like any other high-end device. The fans need to spin up like a bloody jet engine first. So again, 16 PoE plus ports, active, passive, 2 pair, 4 pair, 24 or 48 volts, 6 10 gig SFP Plus ports, a serial console interface right here, which uses the RJ45 format, and a USB 2.0 port. On the back, we have got our neg 48, so there's your plus is your return, your negative is your 48 volts, and on the front we've got our interfacing terminals. Now let's crack her open, by the way. That really reduces the volume, doesn't it? Alright, so I want to take a look at the innards of this switch. There, the fans have powered down. Now it's doing all self-testing right now, which is typically what devices like this will do. Now you'll see your 52 volts. You can see an LED here, indicating that 52 volts is working. There's no faults. You're going to see over here the 12 volts is working because the 12 volts is for the brains and basic switching function. 52 is specifically for PoE. Let's power that off. And then we've got our 24 volt buck converter up here, okay? Now, looking at this thing also, it's very, very well built. That's what I really wanted to go over. So let's open the shutters back up, the barn doors on my lights here. All right, there we go. And that might be a little bit too bright, actually. It might have been actually slightly better. Quenched a bit. Yeah, that actually does help. All right, so we'll quench the lights just a tiny bit. So first of all, got a nice little plastic protector on the left side here where the power supply is, which means that it will protect from skid marks. Secondly, the power supply itself is, I see this as a common thing in a lot of switches, where you've got your 12-volt bus, specifically for the functionality of the switch, and then you've got your 48-volt bus down here, 52 volts in this case. That's specifically for the PoE section of the device. Now, we've also got our comms here. This is a separate board. Hold on. So there's no comms between the power supply and the main board, which is awesome because theoretically, you could also just pop this power board out and put an isolated DC power supply in it if that's so what you wish. You would just have 12 volts going here, and you would have your 48 or 54 volts going here, okay? Now, look at the design of this thing. I'm really, really impressed with this, okay? So first of all, this is very modular, okay? You've got your 12-volt buck, and you've got your buck boost, 52 volts right here. We've got a GDT over here. We've got MOVs over here. GDT, or gas discharge tube, is a fail-open type of surge suppressor. What it'll do is there's usually a gas present within it that will conduct at a specific voltage, usually over about whatever the highest rated voltage of the device is, by about 20% or so, right? So in this case here, it's probably going to be around 90 to 100 volts that one triggers. It's got a 230 on it, so maybe that means it's 230 volts. MOVs fail short. So you've got MOVs along here, and usually there's going to be fuses if there's MOVs, because when MOVs fail, they fail closed, and the idea is to shunt all excess current to earth, right, to protect your equipment. Moving over to here, let's take a closer look at this. Oh, this cable here is specifically for the interfacing up front here. That does not go over to this, okay? So we've got our serial, we've got our cabinet functionality, I guess you could call it. Now over here, we've got the 4 different switch groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is the brain. Now, I'm not going to try peeling off these heat sinks because, 1, it's proprietary information. I've been learning about that as I'm doing teardowns. And 2, they're epoxied on with proper thermal epoxy, okay? But there is something else we can take a really close look at. And I'm going to do the creepy finger thing, okay? Because, like, this is cool. Check this out. We talk about well built. I'm going to pull the PoE section off of this board here because it's modular, which means that if you pop the PoE, you can easily lift this off, get in, fix the transformers. For a lot of you guys know that we're a full wheelhouse WISP support or ISP support company. I do the network engineering and consulting. I also do DC power supply repair, DC equipment repair, and DC plant design. My business partner, Thomas, he repairs stuff like this, the higher level stuff that I'm too stupid to fix. Like a lot of radios, switches, routers, CMTS, DSLAMs, you name it, he fixes it, okay? So now, looking at this, from a repairability aspect, this thing was very well thought out, it's very well built. We've got rows of TVS diodes here as a first stage protection measure to protect the interfaces on here. And of course, they're all grounded ports. Okay, now check out the PoE module. Even more TVS diodes here, and plus, if you look on the back, there's tons of these guys, followed by coupling capacitors, okay, so that'll help get rid of ESD. And then you've also got a big row of fuses here. With cameras over here. I'm using a webcam today instead of my Sony because I'm going to be switching over to the screen in a minute, okay? So look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This is a well-built device. Very, very thoughtful design. A lot went into building this thing, and I'm very, very impressed with its build. And I do have clients that are already using these Hyconext devices, and they are very, very happy with them. So that's not just me pushing a product or, you know, kissing up to the manufacturer, because honestly, this is a good product, and I'm extremely excited about it. And honestly, during negotiations, I was like, well, I don't like the idea of you guys sending me this product and then having me send it back. You know, if I'm making a video for you, I want to keep it. I did have a greedy thought, though. I'm currently running a Cisco 802.3 AT PoE switch in the basement for my the shop and for Thomas's shop and for security around the property and just generally all the stuff that's in the lab here, right? But with this switch having 16 2.5 gig BT ports and 6 10 gig SFP Plus ports. This is going in my rack. So I'm pulling out my Cisco and I'm going to upgrade to this Hyconext switch right here, which I am so... would enamored be appropriate as a term? Now, there's some accessories that came with as well. It came with this standard, you know, boring. You guys need to ship this with a USB serial cable rather than a DB9 serial cable, okay? But this would go into your serial connector on the front here. Very standard. It gives you a DB9, so this allows you to connect the device to your laptop. Okay, but many of us are now using the ones that instead of having this on the end, it has an RS-232 to USB converter. Now here's the other stuff that it comes with, and I'm going to point this stuff out now because it's going to be going on there shortly. These guys are wonderful. Look. We've got our screws here for the ears. The ears are not flimsy. Like this whole device itself, look at this. It's just well built. Like it's well constructed. I mean, like that's, I would say that's probably 16 gauge steel, proper steel, not this flimsy, you know, aluminum paneling. These ears are really nice as well. Like they're solid as well. These look like they're almost 14 gauge. Oh, you know what? Sorry, not everybody is North American. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna just check the steel on here. So what do we got here? We got about 1.5 mil. Yeah, we're at 0. Here you go. If you want, pause it so you can see that better. Here. And I'll do the same on the case. That's almost 1 spot on. Okay, there you go. So that gives you an idea of the steel that they used on this thing. The fans in it are really sexy, plus they're supervised fans, as you can see. They're PWM with supervision, so this is a very intelligent unit. And, oh, this is really... A lot of you guys out there are going to appreciate this. Look, rack studs, and the screws. And on top of that, just for those people who like to set these things on shelves, here's some rubber feet, and here's our screws specifically for the ears. And look at this, a 10 AWG cable. And I should mention, by the way, that the high voltage leads inside of this thing, the 54 volts, are actually silicone leads, and the other ones are ABS. This actually feels, I'm not sure what material this is, but it's actually a nice material. It's not your cheap, I'm going to crack in cold weather type cable. It's pretty well built. So, I mean, like, all in all, physically, I find this thing very nice. And I'm really excited about it. And again, that's not just because they gave it to me. It's got a chonky ground lug on the back of it, I should mention as well. Here we go. Look at that ground lug. Big, heavy duty. Okay, so now let's go take a look at the paperwork for this. And I'm not going to do the login in this video. I'm going to do that in another video so I can poke around and break it into 10 minutes. We're already at 14 minutes now without editing. So I'm going to go and take a look at the paperwork that they sent me with and all the details on the product. And remember, you can pause at the video if you want to go over what's on the documents. Just pause the screen of the document. You can go down them and look at them line for line, or you can just go on the website. The model of this guy is an HC, so that's Hector Charlie, 16 Mother, Thomas 6 X-Ray Peter _ UP. Okay, this is the DC version. There's 3 versions: AC, DC, and BAT. AC, DC. All right, let's go over here. All right, let's go over to OBS here. Screen cap time. There we go. Look at that transition. Ha! I know all about those. All right, so if we take a look at this, I should have full screened it. Am I on the data sheet? Yeah, let's look at the data sheet first. No, that's not the right order. Sorry, let's look at the brochure. So DC, AC, BAT. Remember, you can pause anytime you want to take a look at closer details on this. So these are the Next Wave series. Okay, my volumes look good. This is the second take, by the way. I screwed up the first one. So we've got our AC, DC, and battery model. The battery model supports 9 through 72 volts DC, whereas, so that's got a different power supply in it, basically. They're all the same switch, essentially. They're just different power supplies. This one has 36 to 72 volt support. There's just your fluff, your sales fluff, you know, and specs, basically, like your overview stuff. Here's something that's really nice, though. Look at the operating range. -30 to +60 Celsius. That is just wonderful, okay? WISP, telecom, data center, corporate networking. I don't know if I'd use something like this in corporate. It would work really well, but I mean, corporate is kind of a world where you would definitely use like Cisco, Juniper, or Sienna or something like that, right? Let's see here. I guess Adtran's good too. Robust technology. Here you go. About Hyconext. And there's a QR code if you want to scan it. Now let's go over to the spec sheet. Here's the spec sheet for it. So again, if I move too fast through something, just pause the video. Okay, here you go. Here's our brief specifications. 36 to 72 volts. It's got reverse polarity protection, standard surge protection, rated power 600 watts peak. And remember, this thing, when I run power to it, uses maybe 7 watts idle. Okay? When you see the power, the rated power or the wattage increase, that's as you start adding loads to it. So once you start adding radios, that's when you're going to see the actual wattage, the duty, the demand of the device itself go up, because that's power that is providing to those devices, basically as pass-through, right? FCC compliant, lots of memory, USB port, blah, 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 blah. Oh, boot OS select. Is it dual OS? Oh, that's going to be playing with the software on here. All right. Yeah, here's all your details. Don't let this throw you off, by the way. 48 volt and 24 and 48 volt plant are 24 volts is about 27 volts peak. 48 is 54.4 peak. So these are usually the swing ranges, the medium in the swing range that we're referring to. That's why when we're saying 24 volt plant, we don't see 27. We're picking the median voltage, right? As with 48 volt plant versus 54.4. And now with new lithium technology in, there's different reference voltages as well. So, but as long as they operate within that swing range, everything's happy. So yeah, no, this is fine, and that's a moot point. But look at this: 2 pair, 25 watt, 4 pair, 50 watt at 26 volts, and now for 48 volts, 2 pair, 50 watts, 4 pair, 100 watts. That's a hell of a lot of power. LED, yeah, boring. Pause it if you want to read all those details. There's all your PoE stuff. Active, passive, blah, blah, blah. Operating temperature, the weight, yeah, it's not very heavy. 3 kilograms. Okay, what else we got in here? Hardware specs. There's all of your power stuff for your hardware specs. All right. And then this is just some warning details on here and some inner... This is actually some good detail that they've included here. I'm really happy with these guys. Look at this. So it's including inner working details, like about the port groups and about the voltages, and warning you about using this in a mixed mode plant. If you are concerned about using this in a mixed mode plant, you can install a isolated DC to DC power supply. Meanwhile, make them. ALGCOM make them before this, and that will lift the reference voltage on this, okay? So that's how you can kind of get away with using it in a mixed mode plant. Yep, that's that for that. And now here is the quick start guide. Now, I don't need to go into a lot of details on that. Just pause it and read through it, because I'm trying to keep the video short, right? We're already at 20 minutes. Here's your color codes and what they mean. Pause. There you go. Going down, input voltages and the maximum powers you'll get at those voltages. Here's some sensor accessories that you can get down here, which, of course, these are all industry standard things, so if you can't find them through Hyconext, you can usually get them elsewhere. Sensors, you can usually get those from any alarm system supply company. Who is it that I used to use? Burtech. ADI Burtech in Toronto is who I used. These are the ports and how they operate, the zones. When we're referring to any kind of alarm systems, we usually refer to zones. Okay, CLI, here's your details about logging in. Boring. Ugh. All right, what do we got here? Then you can access the switch via SSH. Ugh. By the way, don't forget, folks, you can also, Windows key R, CMD, you can also use command prompt for SSH in Windows. Watch this. Cool, eh? So the usage is SSH user at IP address. So this would allow you to, and when I say user, I don't mean literally. You put in your username there, okay? And then it'll bring up a prompt, and it'll ask you if you want to accept the key. You hit yes, and then you just log into the device with your password, and you're in. So what I find that's really handy about the command prompt SSH terminal is, unlike PuTTY, I can copy and paste commands into it. You might be able to do that with PuTTY as well, but I've also found that in Linux now, it actually has native command line support for mouse. So you can actually use your mouse through the command prompt as well, which is kind of handy. Okay, on to the next page. Boring. VLANs. More VLAN stuff. Configuring PoE. We'll be looking at that shortly. Let's see here. What's this? More PoE stuff. Yay. I like the interface on it. It looks very ergonomic. I can't wait to log into it. Security cautions. Like how not to blow yourself up. And you know what's funny is what I don't see in here. I don't see anywhere that it says if you don't ground it properly, it will catch fire. Those who know. Cheeky. Okay, so there you go. I think I've gone through all the documents. Alright, that's all you need to know. The next video, we're at 22 minutes, so most of you have probably already stopped watching because you got bored. Or some of you guys have rage quit saying, what the hell are you even talking about? It's like, oh, if you say that, then you know that this video wasn't meant for you, okay? So now that we've gone through all of that, the next video I'm going to make will be logging into this thing, doing some configuration, maybe pulling out the load tester and load testing the ports. By the way, I seen that my buddy John at, is it Kentucky Fi? He went and bought one of those load testers too, which is really handy because you can do anything with it. It's basically a kit load tester. So I can stick it in there and I can turn the port on as passive, PoE, and I can load test it and see when it faults. And this is going to be great because I'll be able to see the protection that's built into this. Because unlike certain switch brands, if you overload this, more than likely it's a very standard design. The port will just reset itself, right? Okay, so this is very cool. I'm very excited about this product. Again, I am genuine. You will never find me lie about a product. In fact, that's what I wanted to talk about. If you watch my YTech switch review, you'll realize that I do poo-poo products sometimes. Hold on. I try to be fair to the vendors as well, where if a product is no good, I'll tell them behind scene and give them a chance to fix it before I actually condemn a product. Now, I did a product review a while ago on a company called YTech. And that's what I wanted to point out. Look at the quality control here, okay, folks? These boards have been scrubbed properly. And when I say scrubbed, I mean washed. It's just a term that we use, right? So, good quality production, like equipment that's been produced in a proper facility. You will find that the boards have been cleaned with ISO. They go through a washing process that removes all resin or residues or flux, as we call it, from the boards and leaves the boards spotless and immaculate. The next step, in a lot of cases with the hardened equipment, that's more hardened than this, by the way, is that it will get a conformal coating, which is where they put a urethane or acrylic or, oh, what's the other one? There's 3 different substrates that they use, but it's basically a coating that goes on the acrylic enamel or urethane. It's sprayed onto the board to waterproof the board and protect the components. In that case here, that's not necessary, right? Because you can't waterproof the ports, so it wasn't done. But look at how clean these boards are. There's not a scrap of production residue on it. And something else, this is where I brought up YTech. On the YTech switches that I reviewed a while ago, the quality control on them was absolutely appalling. I actually found solder beads in amongst legs of chips, okay? That's bad. This guy here, look at this. This board is sterile. Like, there's no contaminants at all. It's well cleaned. This thing it went through a proper facility. This is a very well-built product, okay? So, again, I am genuine. I will not ever lie about a product. I will always give you guys honest information, even if it gets me boycotted by the company that gave it to me. I try to be fair because I'm your proxy. I'm the one who helps you guys find equipment for your networks and give you an honest opinion on it. So, you guys have got it. I'm very excited about this switch. I can't wait until I'm done with the videos and the testing on this because it's going into my rack. And I'm going to use this to replace my Cisco. And so it'll be a Microtech 10 gig into here, and then 10 gig up to my bench switch here, 10 gig out to the RF lab switches out in the backyard. Yeah, and I'll have 10 gig for my NAS. I mean, this is perfect. And then there's still a 10 gig that can go upstairs to Thomas so that he's tied into the core network with a lot of throughput capability for the servers we have downstairs. All right, so that's all I really have to say. We're at 25:59, 26 minutes now. I hope that this video tickled your fancy. I hope that it provided you with all the information that you needed, and I hope that my excitement over this product really helps you gain interest in it, because, I mean, it's sweet. This is a sweet, sweet switch. Oh, I can't wait to get it in. So the next video I'm going to do, again, will be software. So I'm going to get it on the bench here, just like this. I'm going to bust out the load tester. I'm going to log into it, go through some of the sub-menus and look what they have, and then we're going to play with the PoE a little bit and see how it behaves. I'll bring up some BT equipment to connect into this and see how it behaves when connected, and we'll do some load testing on it as well. So, yeah, that'll be the next one. You guys are going to have to wait for that. I might do it this weekend. I might do it next week. But I'm pushing myself to make more content, and I just did a full video on this. So, there you go. I hope you're happy. And thank you, Hyconext, for sending me this beautiful switch. If you're interested in pricing, shoot them an email. I did provide you with a screenshot of the page. I'll go back over to it for just a second. Let's see here. Screen cap. There we go. Okay, so I think that is in. There we go. Here is the sales details down here at the bottom. I will just, if you're interested in these guys, there are North American sellers. In fact, this was shipped to me from the States. It came up from the States. I can't remember where in the States, but this actually came from the States. So they actually have a plant in the States. Yeah, so there you go. There's your sales. There's your website. Facebook. They have a Facebook page. LinkedIn. And their headquarters is in Singapore. But here we go. City of Industry, California. So these guys are in Silicon Valley, basically. That's really cool. So there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you in the next video. Later, guys.